Hello, everybody. Welcome to Neurotic News. And before we start, I just want to say that we're not going to do one for a little while because Rathy's going away for
7 weeks.
he's going away for 7 weeks. So I don't know what I'll do in that time. Something maybe we'll release something, but it won't be. There might be a gap again. So, oh well, sorry about that. So, have you been gigging a lot?
Yeah. To no avail.
Yeah, not getting anything new.
No.
Have you got any
No.
new bad gig stories?
Just it's more in the grey area of just mediocrity where nothing even amazing happens.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's not like you're crushing, but it's not like you're bombing spectacularly either.
No. A woman came up to me after a gig in Perth. She said, "Are you Ronald?" And I was like, "Ronald who?" She's like, "Ronald McDonald."
Oh my god, that's so fucking lame.
But then cracked her and her friends up doing that.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty humiliating.
And then complimented the MC.
Wow, holy shit, love that. Are
It's
you
good.
Ronald McDonald? They all laugh, and then it's like that thing that they do sometimes, but like you were good to the guy next to you.
Yeah.
I hate when they do that. When they
That
come
happens
up,
a lot.
that happens a lot.
They enjoy that.
Yeah,
They enjoy.
It's their way of passive aggressively saying we thought you were shit.
Yeah.
I get boomers do that a lot.
Mm.
Boomers come up to the MC who's like more PC correct
Yeah.
and go, "We thought you were good," as a way of saying you're too crass. That bit you had about coming on Socrates and so on.
Yeah. That's their way of saying they didn't like.
Yeah, who didn't like the bit about homosexual orgies.
They say they hate you by complimenting someone else.
Yeah.
And then turning the tap of compliments off when it gets to you.
Turning the tap. They're pouring.
Like it's free flowing.
Yeah, you were to the MC. You were amazing. Yeah. That was killer. I loved it. There's just a pouring and then just a drip.
Yeah, nothing.
Just a nod.
Or are you Ronald?
Yeah.
And the worst thing is I go, Ronald who?
Yeah.
I'm like, do they must think I'm their friend Ronald or something?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they must have met a guy called Ronald.
Well, to call you Ronald McDonald is such an old school thing that I wouldn't have picked that either. It's Donald Rumsfeld. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm like Ronald Rumsfeld. Do you mean Donald? Like you're trying to spin
Ronald Rumsfeld. Yeah.
You mean the head of geopolitical strategy?
Yeah.
Under the Bush administration?
Yeah.
Who said there were known unknowns and unknowns?
Yeah, that genius.
Yeah, well, it's funny because when I did gigs in Brisbane, I remember like one time I went out at the Paddington Tavern and came out, and before I could start, this lady yelled out, "Ronald McDonald."
Oh my god!
And the crowd erupted like it killed.
Really? You should do one of those really hack intros when you start stand up where you're like, "I know what you're thinking. Is this Ronald McDonald?" Ronald McDonald.
I know what you're thinking. Ronald McDonald's doing stand up.
Yeah, Ronald McDonald's not doing well these days. You know those kinds of intros where they're like, "I know what you're thinking. What's Pat Rafter?" Oh, that's a weird reference. You know what? Just an obscure...
Pete Sampras is up to his old tricks again. Just a really dated.
Yeah.
They're like, Pete Sampras, the tennis.
Was that a tennis guy or a politician?
It's crazy.
Yeah. But you know that people do those.
Yeah, yeah.
And they become dated and so on. I know
what you're thinking. Ronald McDonald's on Centrelink. What's going on?
I know what you're thinking. That Serbian dictator.
Milosevic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. When someone yells Ronald McDonald and it kills, it's hard to really...
It's hard to establish dominance over a crowd when they've already called you Ronald McDonald because you're a red nut.
It's like a similar thing happens when you hit your head on the way up and it kills. Have you ever had that? You hit your head on a banister going out through the curtain or whatever.
Oh, right.
So you smash into a box and like it...
When you're leaving stage.
No, when you're coming out.
Oh, when you're coming out.
And it kills because it's like, fuck, he's hurt himself.
I've never done that in my 17 years of doing stand-up. I've never fucking physically run into something and it killed. That's crazy.
Yeah, it almost concusses you, and that bit, it kills.
So you've got a strong opener now. You have to do it every time, nearly concuss yourself, like a rugby league player.
Well, it's like you can't follow yourself.
Right, because you've already killed with an accident.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you've somehow integrated a really hard opening act
Mm.
into your set.
Yeah. Maybe you could put like a bit of fake blood, like a gosh, oh, fucking have blood dripping out, like to make it even punchier.
Yeah, yeah,
It reminds me of that comic, if anyone remembers this, Jordan Paris,
yeah,
who got in national news because he ripped off jokes. He was a horrible comedian.
yeah,
And one time he was in a comedy competition and he wanted to jump from a higher level inside the building onto the stage.
yeah.
And I always thought that was really funny. Because then he did
Yeah,
it, and of
some
course
guy
he
is
jumped and just went, oh, fuck, like nobody
like,
laughed. And sort of limped to the mic.
it's high risk, low payoff
Mm.
ratio is the best.
It's desperation when you're like, what if I leapt onto stage from a story above? Like, would that help overcompensate for my poor jokes?
Usually you'd leap off a building after your set.
Yeah, yeah. Normally that's the
before.
inclination. And nobody gets to see it. It's your best bit.
Yeah, it's in a hotel.
My my
That's my closer.
I
As I go back.
my closer is standing at the balcony of a hotel wondering about everything and if it would be painless and so on.
And climbing on the other side of it and crying to yourself, but then at the last minute climbing back in.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
delivering Uber Eats.
Yeah. That's a great bit. And nobody gets to see it. You do your best stuff when no one sees it. You know what I
Oh.
mean?
The wisdom of the staircase. I want to get a neck tattoo of that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
phrase, because it's just
Yeah.
everything.
I thought you meant of your suicide attempt. That'd
A
be a
neck tattoo of
detailed,
it.
yeah, detailed portrait. Um, it reminds me of something I love. The stories I love telling of comedians I started with and their worst gig stories. Like this pub comic Steve Allison. He's a
Yeah.
great guy, and I still work with him. But his bad gig stories are the best bad gig stories of all time. One of them was this guy's just, he does anything. He once did a pool table. Like he got
Yeah.
up on a pool table in a pub and did stand up. There's something I love about this. And one of
It's
his
durable.
yeah. It's like whatever goes. And one time he said he had a gig on Christmas for a Jewish men's group who weren't celebrating Christmas. So they hired a comedian, and he turned up, and there was like a pontoon floating on the it was at a lake,
Yeah,
like a small lake at Bond University in the Gold Coast. There's like a lake around in the university, you know, an artificial one they've built or whatever. And there's a pontoon floating on the edge of the lake. And then all of them, the audience, these Jewish men, were just standing in a kiosk sort of near the pontoon. And they had speakers and a wireless mic on the pontoon.
Yeah.
And they were like, that's where you do it. And he's like, oh, geez, it's a bit fucking far away. And they're like, oh, it'll be okay. And then he got up and started doing his jokes. And then and he goes, and then the fucking pontoon started. And they were like, and they shipped him out to the middle of the lake.
Jesus.
So the moving stage went out to the middle of the lake, and he's just doing it from the lake in the distance.
That's crazy.
How good's that though?
Was that just for they thought that would be a good idea?
I think they just thought it would be cool if the stand up was in the lake.
Yeah.
Because it kind of
the cooler their idea, the worse it's going to be.
Right.
Like if they're like, you're going to be on a rotating like Jägermeister circle.
Yeah, yeah.
And you'll be
Weird.
Spinning around like on a Gravitron.
Right.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? They have
Yeah.
ideas for what.
Because they just think comedy's like music.
They
just think it's going to be you out in a pontoon. They're all going to be pissing themselves, and you're going to be floating in a lake.
Yes, yeah, see that added extra cruelty to it?
Yeah.
There's a weird like purge like Saw.
Yeah,
that
torture.
Movie Saw.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, what if they're dizzy and it's funny?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's and the other one was he once did a corporate gig in a welding factory, like a metalworks. And again, same idea. The boss was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if you pretended to be one of the workers?"
Yeah, yeah.
And this was just a gig he'd done that day. Like I was just talking to him backstage. He's like, "Yeah, I just did this today," and he pretended to be one of the workers at a metalwork. You know, sparks flying everywhere, da da da. And then he just had to stand up on an esky at the end of your drinks. Just stood up on the esky and started telling jokes, dressed in their uniform.
So they thought he was an employee.
Yeah. Just a funny employee who's so confident he stood on the esky.
That's a hard sell, though.
That's a tough gig, man.
That's tough. During the day in a lunchroom.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah. Fuck.
But he has really broad pub jokes like, I dated a dwarf. I was nuts over her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he has the...
That can work. That joke can work with welding machinery around it.
Yeah.
Like it survives.
Yeah.
It survives the audio landscape of like people welding and drilling
Yeah.
around it. Because like usually you just have to have a bit that's good enough to drown out a cocktail order that requires a NutriBullet.
Right.
But
yeah.
when it's welding machinery,
The
people
stronger
wear
the bit.
these
Yeah.
to block out sound.
Yeah.
And you've got to do your nuts over her bit.
Yeah.
And that does work.
And that does work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different environments, I guess. I liked your idea you were saying, talking about blocking people out, about how you wear contacts now.
Yeah.
You were saying that sometimes you run into someone in the shops and you can just pretend they're not there.
Yeah, yeah. If people think you wear glasses, which I do, some people think I wear them.
Yeah.
Which means if I wear contacts and someone, you see someone recognize you from across the street, they wave at you.
Right.
Because of that, if I'm wearing contacts, I can just squint.
Right.
And look confused, and they just think I forgot my glasses.
Yeah, that's nice.
They're not like, fuck, like they're just, he's forgotten his glasses.
Yeah.
But then they can call your name out. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, that's when you need to put in hearing aids, I guess.
Well, I posted a photo on Instagram of me with a hearing aid.
Right, smart.
So now people think I need it, but I'm just not wearing it when they see me. They're
right.
Like, he must not be wearing. He must be not well.
Yeah, so you have an Instagram account where you've got glasses and a hearing aid in.
Yeah.
And you put that up publicly so that people think you have those things. So then when you're in public, you wear contacts and no hearing aid. Therefore, you can't hear or see them.
But I can actually see them with 20/20 vision. I can hear everything they're saying. And I've got complete plausible deniability.
Yeah, so they can be like literally right here going, hey, Dan.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
and you're like,
I can't.
Yeah.
I don't.
You go and point into your ear like, can't.
I've literally done it, and you can actually see them going, he's forgotten. Like they
yeah.
They're like they laugh.
It's good to have a social media account to be antisocial.
Yeah, I think that wasn't the purpose of it.
Yeah.
Was to use it to avoid social interactions in real life.
Yeah, I don't think they were like, Facebook to disconnect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like use it to lie to your friends and family so you can avoid them.
Use it to set up an ailment precedent.
An ailment precedent.
That you can then,
Yeah, I love that.
Undermine by not doing. And that's the thing, like if I just had glasses on and someone was waving at me, it's that acquaintance is no longer an acquaintance.
Right.
And I'm just talking about a guy that made you a coffee 4 years ago or whatever.
Right. You're not talking about close friends. You're talking about someone you knew once that you sort of have to, obliged to sort of nod at or whatever.
Yeah.
The stop and chats, so to speak.
Yeah, you get to avoid incidental social interactions with acquaintances who are just friends who haven't betrayed you yet. And you just basically get to squint and it's an amazing superpower.
It's beautiful, yeah.
Because you still get to maintain the relationship.
It'd be good to, if you could somehow fake like serious mental, fake serious mental problem, like dementia or something like that. And then you could just be like, oh, I was out of my mind,
Yeah, I've got no idea.
But there's no plausible reason why you would have dementia at our age. But
you could tell people you're an alcoholic and just drink non-alcoholic beers.
Fill your social media with you drunk, vomiting.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble, guys. Like to camera, like, guys, I've got a problem.
Yeah.
And stuff. But really, you're just doing ice baths. You don't drink, eating all organic food and so on.
And also, you're doing ice bath. Yeah, doing thermogenesis and.
Yeah.
Like
you're in ketosis.
Hormetic stressors. Add an extra 10 years to your life.
Yeah, you're eating all organic, raw dairy and meat and
you're on an
vegetables.
arsenal of supplements that increase lifespan.
Yeah.
Be like,
Yeah, but your social media is like you vomit, you're covered in blood. You've been beaten badly from being too drunk. So when people see you, they just go, leave him alone. He's going through a lot.
Yeah, and you can then apologize and then blame it on something.
Yeah. So what did you call
external?
it?
An ailment precedent.
An ailment precedent.
So you could put yourself on crutches. You could do whatever you wanted.
have an ailment precedent so that you can just go about your life how you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
You're like, what? You told me that? Man, I'm an alcoholic. Have you seen my Instagram posts?
Yeah,
It's me with Jägermeister admitting that I've got a problem but can't stop.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I wrote off your car,
Yeah.
but have you seen my social media
I'm
kind of
fucked.
thing?
I'm on
Yeah, I'm in big
crutches.
trouble.
I've got, but whenever you see me, I'm like full mental clarity, not on crutches.
Yeah, you've got an advantage over people
Yeah.
because you posted a story about how you've getting you got liver problems and you're lying in a hospital bed that was
Yeah.
actually done at an acting school.
Yeah.
You know, like a fake studio.
Instagram story.
Yeah, Instagram story, so that when people see you, they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm cosplaying as an old man that's on death's door, but with all my faculties.
Yeah.
So you're getting all the benefits of like, what did I didn't deny the Armenian genocide at the barbecue. Like, you know what I mean? But you did, and you were
Yeah.
sober and you enjoyed it. But because you've got the Jägermeister
Yeah.
precedent, like, oh, the ailment precedent.
Yeah, he was questioning the Holocaust, but have you seen his Instagram?
He's out of his mind.
He's not in a good place.
I blame it on fentanyl.
Yeah, he's got a fentanyl
Never
problem.
taken fentanyl on fish oil. On
Yeah,
on an
excellent,
arsenal.
really sharp-minded.
Yeah.
But you're just questioning
intensity
dental
interval
records. Yeah. Questioning dental records from the Holocaust at the barbecue, embarrassing people, making everyone uncomfortable, and they're just like, he's suffering.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his problem. Yeah. Another one I thought is if you've got a friend you hate.
Mm.
You know, if you've got a friend that you hate.
Right.
I
Yeah.
love that. Like,
I'm sure a lot of listeners can relate to.
But you want to maintain the relationship, but you never want to see
You
them.
never want to engage with them, yeah.
What you do is, whenever I find out they're out of town, I invite them over for dinner.
Right.
Which is good if they're a comedian because you can just Google their touring schedule.
Right. I was going to ask, how do you know when they're out of town?
You
Like,
just put
I hope
a
you're
Google
not.
alert on their tour schedule.
Right.
So you go. So someone's like, "Oh man, I thought your birthday was in July.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it in October?" You're like, "Well, John's in Perth, isn't he?"
Yeah.
So you're arranging.
You've done that,
life.
yeah. It's nice when the tours overlap too. Like, you get two loose acquaintances you don't want to talk to, two friends you hate.
You get your butcher and your barista out of town.
You talk to the promoter. Hey, could you book such and such and such and such because it's my birthday?
They're like, why? Well, they're friends that I hate.
Yeah.
But I want to maintain the
And
relationship.
I haven't got the courage just to tell them. So ideally, they're just out of town for major social events.
It's like I told this guy I didn't like that I'd moved city.
Right.
But then they catch you and you're like, yeah, just here for the weekend.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, I don't live here.
Yeah. You're here a lot. I see you at this cafe every day. Yeah, just taking a big break from things.
Fly in, fly out.
Yeah, flying. I'm flying. I'm for social reasons. You know what reminded me of the thing you said at the start about the Ronald thing?
Yeah.
You know what that makes me think is that, like, for someone to come up to you and go Ronald McDonald and just yell that out is actually like a type of prejudice.
That's what I think. Yeah.
It's a type of abuse.
It's a hate crime.
It's a hate crime against how you look.
Yeah.
But it's an area of look that isn't skin color and so on.
So it's fine. But it's just as genetic.
Right.
Like, I didn't choose this.
Right. You're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, you think about, like, good-looking people.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a better advantage to have in life, in my opinion.
I think it's the pinnacle. It's the best thing.
Yeah.
People are nice to you.
Like, you look at that. What about that? Like, okay, you think of, like, race, gender, privilege, depending on your race and gender. But then you think about how good-looking you are as a privilege. Like that dude who got arrested, he had a teardrop on his cheek. You know, that guy's really good-looking criminal.
Yeah.
And they post their images on Facebook. Like, look out, this guy.
He's got, like, jet blue eyes.
Yeah, just really good-looking
like,
guy. Chiseled.
Dark, handsome.
But
blue eyes.
Dark with blue eyes. Yeah, like, unbelievably good-looking. And everyone was just like, oh, I'm in love with, like, just all flooded with. And he went viral and then got a modeling contract.
Yeah.
No race or gender privilege is ever going to get you that level of, like, you're a murderer and you're so privileged from how you look that you end up with a modeling contract.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that it's see, that's just the proof of it.
Yeah, like that's high level privilege. Like you're a criminal, you're killing people.
Because it can't. It's not only is it canceling it out, it's getting you the
It's
contract,
the it's
a
it's
job.
it's not like they go, we'll turn a blind eye. It's like, "Okay, we want to give you a modeling contract."
If you're ugly and you kill someone, you can't even get a job at Nando's.
Yeah, they have all these programs to try and get prisoners, but if they were good looking and they had a social media account, just saying.
You don't need the work for the whatever, the
Yeah,
work
yeah,
from
yeah,
work release program.
yeah. You're
Who
not
goes to a
working
modeling contract?
in a factory or whatever. You're like, oh, you know, you
I
move.
reckon he'd be hired at front of house at a Nando's or whatever, that guy as well.
Yeah,
If he didn't get them on, like they'd be
yeah,
like, put him on front.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. This is our best prisoner.
you know how they put all the trolls in the back.
Yeah, around the deep fryer.
Yeah, yeah, because they're
Yeah,
like their skin's already fucked.
yeah. If they get a bit of oil on it, who cares?
They're already oiled up.
They're all oily. You know, I think sometimes, like with mental health and stuff, like there's a line between. There's such a fine line between doing drugs and it expanding your mind and giving you new perspective and having epiphanies and shit, and then just becoming just a scatterhead space cadet. Like there's that line between like you do acid and you're like, whoa, man, I see the fucking world in an interesting way. And then there's just one too many acid trips and you're that. Like I remember a guy at uni who just took too much acid
Mm.
and he went from like, like interesting, open minded to like he used to do this all the time, just go
Too much acid.
too much acid, just making fart noises with his mouth.
He went that bit far because you go
Yeah.
that one. I see it with people that I know. They go that one acid trip too far. Next minute they're wearing a shark tooth necklace and a vacant stare.
Yeah, yeah. They've got the
Combo?
1,000. Yeah. Yep. Yep. It's a fine line, isn't it? Because you could be working at Ernest and Young and be too closed minded and not like could not understand the world, different perspectives. And you take acid one night and you're like, whoa, I just realized this about fear and love. And you have this crazy night on mushrooms up in a mountain or something. And then you just take it a lot because you think it's doing good. And then you go from whoa to like my mate the other day where I just saw was taking heaps of acid, just staring at a fly. He's just watching it slowly die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I found like the times that, if you do too much acid, like the world becomes more interesting to you, but you become less interesting to the world.
Right.
Like you're
right.
looking at the fly going, wow, there's a million different variations on the fly wing. They're fractals. And your friend's like, yeah, you can't finish stories anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's this weird thing. You're more
Mm.
the world. You're like, whoa, but people are like, man, you're fucking.
Yeah.
You're just going like this, like.
Yeah. Yeah. You just end, or
Yeah.
you're like, yeah. I've got friends that'll just do that in the middle of like you'll be, when we were growing up, you have friends over for a family dinner and it's kind of important and they're just there going like, fuck, man, I saw this pigeon today and fucking. I remember my mate said this once. Like they just gave away that he was just done too many drugs. It gives it a like.
Yeah, it's
you can give it a like. There's no other explanation for someone saying, "Yeah, I saw a pigeon today and it was fucking beautiful."
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that dude's done too many drugs. It's just obvious,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's just like you're giving it away. just too many from being interesting to making fart noises and yeah.
Like developing a Tourette's where you just say COVID. You just say COVID, like just in the street. Because you just did that one extra trip.
Yeah,
and
it's
now
that
you're freaking
line.
people out at the cinema, just COVID.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, or you're emceeing a gig and you keep forgetting where you are and you repeat jokes and so on.
Yeah.
Which I've also seen.
So there's a weird, there's a Goldilocks zone.
There's a Goldilocks zone. Yep.
Because I think when people say they're good, people go, fuck it, let's do a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. You can blow your mind.
Yeah.
Blow it up, quite literally.
Yeah. It's like putting a pipe bomb under your frontal cortex.
Yeah.
And just exploding it. Like
yeah.
Like the IRA.
Acid is the IRA for your frontal cortex.
Yeah, it reminds me of Belfast.
Yeah,
in the 80s or whatever.
It's flying two planes into your twin towers of prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, the two lobes.
Yeah,
whatever. The left and right hemisphere.
What you want is just one plane.
Yeah,
some damage, then repaired.
that's
Not
microdosing.
That's microdosing.
Microdosing is when you have a light carrier aircraft and it sort of scrapes the side of the building.
Profound
Yeah.
metaphor of terrorist attacks on your brain when you take psychedelics.
But it's like what you say, like, yeah, how you, when you did too much weed, it was like you were doing burnouts in your brain.
Yeah, because I have a brother who's a racing car driver. He's doing burnouts on the track. And I remember I went to one of his races in Queensland before he was like quite big and famous, and I was just smoking heaps of weed. And I remember I'm at his race. He wins the race. It's like, whoa. And I'm just at the track, just walking around stoned. And I put my hand in my pocket and I had a golf ball and a pair of underwear.
Yeah.
That's just what was in my pocket. And I just remember being stoned, looking at that, just going, you need to stop smoking weed. Why are you walking around with just a golf ball and a pair of underwear in your pocket? Like, where'd it come from? Why? Who am I? Where am I? You know what I mean? It was just
you're
that
just
profound.
walking around with a couple of non sequiturs in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like things that don't link.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. For some reason, that was the catalyst for like, you need to stop growing weed in the backyard and selling it at school.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the catalyst. And so your brother was literally going, and you were going, and this is just in your brain.
Like yeah. He's like, and winning, and I'm in my brain,
like repetitive intrusive thoughts doing burnouts.
Yeah, find a clothes peg and a fucking, some basil.
Yeah.
Or whatever in your pocket.
That's the moment. I think, my moment is like just watching like a documentary about dinosaurs, and you're like, whoa, whoa. But then you tell someone something, and they're like, that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, you got to put down the peace pipe.
Yeah. What did you say about dinosaurs?
Well, no, you don't. You don't even talk about the thing that you're so absorbed that you find dinosaurs way more interesting
than they are. Yeah.
But then people find you way less interesting.
Yeah.
Because your brain's not working properly.
Right. I see what you mean. Yes.
Like if your brain's not working, you're not interesting to other people.
Right. You need your brain to work.
You're not like the guy that's going COVID. Like you're not like, hey man, let's go to Grilled.
Yeah. Which would be a really interesting thing to do.
Like unless you're doing a research project on like, people whose brains have been hijacked.
Right, yeah. Hijacked is a great word. Yeah.
By psychedelic
terrorists. Psychedelic terrorists, yeah. It's like I said, like that dude, my mate who was a big druggo was really obsessed with pigeons and how they're beautiful, but we treat them like rats.
It sounds like an acid epiphany. Like it's got the pseudo profoundness of it. The pseudo profundity of it all.
That's what it is. It's pseudo profound.
Yeah, and that's what irks other people because they're like, I'm not dropping acid every Tuesday, so I don't know why I have to be interested in this.
Yeah,
and in the side effects of your lifestyle.
Why are you emailing me images of pigeon wings on a Monday morning when I'm trying to have my coffee and I've got a job?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? They're like, I don't care. I get this is a big deal to you, but I've got a tax return to do.
Yeah,
and you're at home, making your own custard.
Yeah,
staring at a fly wing. Like, have you ever gotten stoned and watched Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I call it forest bathing.
Getting stoned and watching Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's like a forest bathing from the comfort because there's so many forests.
I see what you mean. It's like it's like a trip into nature without having to go into nature. Watching Lord of the Rings, plus the added bonus of orcs and wizards and shit.
It's good. It's but one thing I thought was that like the dwarf is the only mythological character that's not mythological.
Yeah, because you've got a wizard that's magical and tall, and then you've got elves with pointy ears. They're another species. You've got orcs that are monsters that come out of the ground. Yeah. Then you've just got dwarves, which are just
bearded axe.
Yeah, but they're just dwarves.
Like, but a beard and an axe is not like I think the beard and the axe confuses people, but actually you can do that in reality.
Yeah, like you can go to Bunnings and get an axe and grow a beard. Yeah.
So that's not magical, to be honest. No.
They're just dwarves.
Yeah.
I mean, don't mean that as a disrespect. I just mean like it's like humans and dwarves already are real in this dimension.
Yeah, so that's what I don't get with the fantasy authors. They're giving everyone else magical powers. They're like, yeah, wizards, you can cast spells and teleport, and elves live forever. And then dwarves, you still have to use a milk crate to turn the lights on.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to sprinkle some fairy dust on that situation? Like,
Yeah, they
you got a
can't
salt
cast
shaker full of
spells.
fairy dust. You can't put it on the dwarves, J.R.
Yeah,
Tolkien.
yeah, it's a disgrace.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace. Like, why don't they have any magical powers?
For fantasy authors to take a disadvantaged group from reality, put them into an enchanted forest, and not give them magical powers is a crime.
Yeah, it's actually insulting if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't dwarves be able to, levitate, or at least have some? Because elves have this long life, and orcs have this, super strength and all that sort of stuff, and wizards can cast spells. Dwarves are just, even in if there was a disability pension in the fantasy world of Lord of the Rings, they would be on that, wouldn't they?
They'd be on that for not being able to reach things, and then they should get an additional payment for not being able to cast spells.
Yeah, right. They so in the fantasy realm there should be an additional.
Yeah, there's no payment.
Right.
It's like a coronavirus supplement, but for magic.
Right. So we haven't given you a special power, so they should at least get an extra disability pension.
Yeah, because it's
Lack
like
of magic
give
pension.
them the ability to levitate, because then that levels it out.
Right.
Because if you can levitate, then you can reach light switches or whatever. You can actually function with it. Like, then it's leveled out. Don't give because the wizard's already 6 foot.
Right.
So he could already dunk a basketball. Now he can levitate as well.
Yeah.
So you're elevating the human 6 foot guy even higher, and then keeping the dwarf the same.
So if he was in reality, yeah, he'd be able to play basketball. He'd be tall. Women would like him. Plus, he can, make a fucking tree catch a light at the party or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's killing it. And then dwarf is just the same.
Yeah. So it's like 6 foot dude, dwarf, and then you get an extra
bonus
spells too. So you see how dwarf's still here.
Yeah.
With beard and axe.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Which is just stuff we can. Yeah.
And also then, also you can have to be blacksmiths and mine iron ore.
Yeah.
Like
they get the shitty jobs as well. Like, whereas it seems to me like the wizards are just freelancing and they're like in the gig economy and doing very well in the fantasy worlds, because
they're entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well, they're making their own shit and they're able to make their own money.
They're like a startup, like a unicorn.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, which is actually a term for a startup that is worth over $1 billion, so it's confusing. But yeah, anyway, like, but it's so the wizard. Yeah, it's such a weird thing to give them the toughest job. Literally, apparently strips 20 years off your life mining.
Yeah, right.
Because it's like you don't get any sunlight and you're under a tunnel.
Yeah.
Like, I know a guy that worked for Rio Tinto, and he hung himself and he was 6 foot.
Right.
Like,
So imagine if you were a dwarf with an axe.
Can't reach the iron ore.
Yeah.
Because they won't give you the ability to levitate. Like, it's a rip-off in terms of...
Yeah, so even their jobs, I mean, maybe it could be excusable if they weren't magic.
Yeah.
But they, had...
Yeah.
cool jobs in the fantasy realm.
Yeah.
Like they were in charge of, I don't know, magic dust or the enchanted forest or some shit.
Have them run the banks.
Yeah.
In Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, have them be bankers.
Yeah.
Because then it makes sense, like...
Right.
We've got all the gold. Yeah, we need to use milk crates to reach pickle jars and stuff. But
that stuff, but we're in control of the currency.
Yeah.
We're billionaires. We control the economy and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
like, Warren Buffett's probably got liver failure, but we don't... he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
like it's sort of, at least use money, something, but I don't see any benefits that you've bestowed to this group.
Yeah, it seems prejudice.
Taken them from reality as well. Like, why is that okay? Is it just because it's been for thousands of years, dwarves have just been fodder for folklore?
Yeah.
Like, and no one questions, like, because if you watch Lord of the Rings, you're not like going, this is wrong. But it'd be the same as if, you wrote another version of Lord of the Rings and you just had paraplegics in an enchanted forest.
Yeah.
And you didn't give them the ability to walk again?
Yeah. And they didn't have any magic powers and they didn't have any special place in society.
They just crawl along the forest bed.
Yeah.
And it's just weirdly not addressed.
Yeah.
If that had happened thousands of years ago, we'd probably be fine with it. We'd be like, oh, they're the crawlers.
And even in Lord of the Rings.
They're the floor crawlers.
Yeah.
They crawl and
look
for truffles or whatever, like...
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. But, like, you'd have something like... Like just as the dwarves mine or whatever.
Right.
they'd
They've
give
got
them some
they've
job.
got not a very good job either.
They're just
The
getting
floor
truffles
call-
for the wizard party, where they're gonna have like mushroom truffle risotto
Yeah,
and stuff.
because even in Lord of the Rings, the dwarf he's not that even great of a fighter. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he's fighting dragons with a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It kind of
it's just weird to create a world where miracles are possible and then deprive the one group that needs it the most.
yeah.
You sprinkle fairy dust on other people that are fine,
Mm.
and then you create a lizard that can fly and its mouth
Breathes fire. Yeah.
and then just dwarves. We're not going to make any alterations with that.
They're fine.
And it did make me think that if fantasy's over here and reality is over here, the Venn diagram overlap is just dwarves.
Right.
Like that's the one, that Venn
Yeah.
like that's a weird thing.
Yeah.
The thing that bridges fantasy and reality is it's a bridge of dwarves
Right.
that leads.
Because it's in both, but it's just regular.
Nothing else is in both.
That's true, isn't it?
Which is weird. It made me think, does like Gandalf ever just sit down with the dwarf and go, yeah, there's a parallel universe where you can get the disability pension?
Yeah, he's found it in his crystal ball.
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
oh, they're at Centrelink.
Yeah.
The dwarves in this other realm.
We don't have that here. It'd be weird. 20 quests a month, you report your gold.
Yeah, right. I see what you mean. Because I guess Gandalf would probably look into our dimension and be like, oh, I suppose in this dimension they're super powered.
Yeah.
Like they finally got. And it's like, no, they're just the same.
Yeah.
They can still go to Bunnings and get a fucking axe and grow a beard. No different. Some of them probably work in the mines.
The dwarf would be like, what? So there's no other, it's just the same. Yeah, you're the same in this other world. Everything else is different. I can't cast spells. I work at PricewaterhouseCoopers or whatever.
Yeah.
but do you know what I mean? Like,
there's no,
it's different for me because
Gandalf
gets a downgrade when he comes into our world. Like if he was his version of him here.
Yeah. If he comes into our world, he doesn't have superpowers. He's just a tall dude with a weird hat.
Yeah, he's just a 6'2" guy that can dunk a basketball.
Yeah, who dresses weird. Yeah.
Just an able-bodied man that for some reason gets an added benefit when he's in a fantasy world of casting spells and teleporting and so on.
Right. I see what you mean. Like he carries over the benefit of being tall, basically.
But the one group that needed that extra skill of like levitation, at least to balance out, empower them, just wasn't for some reason wasn't in J.R.R. Tolkien's mind as an option.
Yeah.
Like he's like, nah, we'll just make him the same.
Yeah. Don't give him anything.
Give him a really physically taxing job, but yeah. Difficult. What's the hardest job here? Mining.
Yeah.
We'll give him that.
Yeah. So they have special powers to extract that? No. Just an axe.
They've still got to do it. Yeah, it's still quite hard because they don't have drills.
They don't have mind powers that, show where the gold is and they move the rock with their mind. No.
Yeah.
They don't have a special powder they make that makes the rocks explode. Just a pickaxe, just like they do in your world.
So it's actually way harder because we have drills and stuff as well. They don't have that. They've got to axe it out.
Yeah.
Like they face reality in that mine.
Yeah.
Like
maybe J.R.R. Tolkien just hates dwarves.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my friend sent me a book last night. It's called Dwarves, and it's just about dwarves
right,
but in a magical context.
Right.
But on the back it just has like the humans and the dwarves, and I'm like, what do you mean? So in this book they're not even human? Like what? It was weird. Anyway, I think it was some fan fiction done by like a Lord of the Rings fan. Those people that offshoot.
Yeah. Those people fascinate me.
And not only that, say if an elf came through into our world through a portal, we'd throw a party. It'd be on the news. If an orc came through, we'd be like, fuck, can't believe it. Amazing.
Yeah.
If a dwarf came through, we'd be like, oh, yeah, we've got you guys.
Yeah. Hello. Can I help you?
You got a beard
and
axe?
Help,
that's
mate?
Funny.
Yeah. Are you dressing up, are you?
Yeah.
You'd just be like, hello, can I help you? If they just appeared in a portal.
You'd be like, you wouldn't be like, oh, are you from Narnia?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's a mythical creature. You'd be like, what's your name?
In fact, if he said he was from Narnia, he'd end up in a psych ward.
Yeah.
That's the tragedy.
That's the great tragedy.
Like he'd be like, "Oh, I'm from
Mm.
Narnia." He'd be like, "Okay, we've got mental health
Yeah, issues. But
issues
if an
here."
elf did, you'd be like, wow, Narnia must be real because it's like they're physically a fucking elf.
Yeah, you'd be like,
Yeah.
you'd be like, magic is real.
Yeah.
But if a dwarf came through and was like, "I was just fighting a dragon, yeah, fighting a dragon
Yeah.
in an enchanted forest,"
Mm.
he'd actually end up like with electroshock therapy.
Yeah,
and
they'd be
Prozac
like,
and
hold him
stuff.
down, inject him now.
Yeah, they'd
Mm.
actually have to restrain
Yeah.
because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
like
get him down now. Inject him immediately with a sedative quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's crazy. He's
Valium,
insane.
Valium,
yeah,
Valium,
now,
dragon.
now. They tie him down and take him away.
So he's like, I was fighting a dragon with it was in an enchanted forest.
Yeah.
You'd be like, yeah, look, you're mental.
Yeah.
And like, if a dragon came through, but then we'd be like, wow.
Yeah.
He's like, I was fighting that.
Yeah, it's like, no, you weren't, mate.
So if you're gonna teleport,
I saw you down at Coles. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
pretty
someone
sure-
mistakes. Yeah, don't you work down at?
I think I saw you at Cirque du Soleil in Parramatta once. You were with the belly dancer. Like you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would actually need to bring a posse.
Right.
So, like, if the dwarf came through from the fantasy portal, he'd need to bring a dragon or a friend, like a
Right.
+1,
Right.
to prove it.
Right.
Like, see, I told you. Then you'd
Yeah.
be like, I guess.
Yeah.
Now I get it. I guess you
Yeah.
are.
They'd have to vouch for him. No, I was with him in the fan. No, they'd have to stand in front and talk on his behalf.
It's like
The
getting a
elf-
reference
Yeah, yeah.
for a job.
It's like, I'm magical, as you can tell.
Yeah.
This dwarf is not just one of your dwarves.
Yeah.
I mean, he is, but he lived in our world
Yeah.
and just worked in the mines as well.
Yeah. Here he can be in a music video or whatever.
Yeah. He can be in Jackass.
Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
can be like the fifth guy in the music video.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm coming, and there's just a dwarf like
Yeah.
at the side, like
Yeah.
dance. And then I heard like this guy. I remember I did a bit about and this guy was like, yeah, he's like, dwarves are good luck. You rub their head or whatever.
Oh, that sounds prejudiced. That doesn't sound.
Yeah, I'm
good.
like, that's not true.
That's not.
That's
good.
not true because that's how that's J.R. Tolkien's fault as well.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? Because now this idiot thinks they actually are.
So that he's actually projected magic onto something that in J.R. Tolkien's world doesn't have magic.
Yeah.
Just because J.R. Tolkien's put him in fantasy land.
It's like guilt by association, but
Right.
in a magical context. It's like, but you've been around a wizard.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I.
Yeah. So you must, like, he's going, they have some magical powers. I was like, no, they don't.
No.
And don't go rubbing their heads either.
Yeah. He's
In
like,
this
they're
world.
good. He's like, they're good luck. He's like, they're not good luck. They know a guy that can invent good luck.
Yeah.
With a wand.
Yeah.
But they aren't.
No.
They got bad luck because they got screwed over by J.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis and all these people.
All of them are in on it. There's not one representation of a fantasy land. They all love using dwarves. Not one of them has anything special. Even in Game of Thrones.
Well, in Game of Thrones, what's interesting is he's not even part of a tribe.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
He's just an individual dwarf.
In Game of Thrones, he's got a medical condition.
Right.
Of dwarfism.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He's not. Do you know what I mean? He's because in Lord of the Rings, he's like, we're going back with my other cousins, and all his cousins.
Yeah,
are dwarves.
his brothers are there.
They're like
stuff,
Portuguese people more.
Yeah.
Kind of a more.
They have all their cousins around.
Yeah, and they live in a mountain.
Yeah, and they live in the mountains.
And they make decisions together.
Yeah. And
like
they get angry at
Portuguese.
each other when they're, hiking or in a tourist spot as backpackers, and they get really angry. You said this was I think we should eat. I don't want to eat now. They
Yes,
when they travel in packs and they
Blackbeard of Longor.
Yeah.
We eat sardines tonight in Sardinia.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when backpackers, like groups of Portuguese backpackers, always argue about what to do next because they want to do it all together.
Yeah, they're like, no. We did a conga line last night.
Yeah, something different tonight. No, I want to do it again. Why not?
Let's be extroverted together again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I think because Game of Thrones, he's just solo. It's weird.
Yeah.
Do you know that's even weird too? It's like what?
Well, you got a woman who, doesn't she? Yeah, well, she can. Not be burnt, and there's magic going on in Game of Thrones. But once again, all the dwarf gets is just negatives, even in that realm.
Yeah, it's that. So I think the message is, if you're going to use a disadvantaged group for your fantasy world, give them some magical
yeah,
powers.
yeah. Stop taking advantage.
Balance it out. Don't
Yeah.
widen the gap.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's a pretty crazy thing to do. It just shows you how no one will question something if it's been done for so long that it's become folklore.
Yeah, and also like it's not like there's a lack of imagination for J.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's thinking of rings and volcanoes and dark lords, and it's like you can't imagine maybe just a little bit of magic powers for just one disadvantaged group. Can't think of that, mate. Couldn't think of that.
You got this
could
rich imagination. These green fields.
Imagine if it was something else, like black people, like Africans in these fantasy world. Da da da, wizard, dwarves, orcs, da da da, and Africans. Oh, and what do the African tribes? They're just regular people.
Yeah, it's just the Ubuntu tribe.
Yeah,
you know,
that would seem
it'd just
unfair.
be weird.
Yeah, it'd be. It's like no, but they must have magical warrior. No.
I think that would highlight how weird it is.
Exactly.
Because if something's been done for so long that it's folklore, you just say, oh yeah, I guess dwarves, it makes
prejudice
sense.
hides.
When I was watching it as a kid, I wasn't like, oh, this is fuck, because I just was like, oh yeah,
exactly, you accepted.
This is the way it works. I did, I remember I did that bit on stage once, and this lady said, stop disrespecting dwarves.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not. I'm sticking up for them.
Well, she said they're actually really good at making swords.
Oh.
So she was actually defending them from a fantasy realm.
Oh,
because she was like a nerdy type.
Right. So she thought that
she actually looked like a witch almost. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like she would be in Dungeons and Dragons.
So you're saying it's possible she was from a fantasy?
Well, I think she's so ensconced in the fantasy world that she's forgotten they're real people as well.
Right.
Like she's gone, don't have a go at the fantasy. Do you know what I mean? It's like someone going, don't have a go at Harry Potter. He's an amazing guy. He's an amazing wizard.
He's a great wizard. He casts those spells. So she's kind of going, don't you get it? They're great blacksmiths.
Yeah.
In the fantasy realm.
And I'm like, once again, blacksmiths is achievable here.
Yeah.
You can build swords here.
It's interesting she's sticking up for identity politics in the fantasy realm.
Yeah. I mean, she's
in real life.
Another acid casualty.
Yeah. Well, she might be an actual witch from another dimension who's come, you know, like she's realized what you've realized and actually come through the portal
to
and
let you know,
come to your comedy gig.
Yeah.
Before she's called you Ronald.
Looking through the crystal ball.
Yeah. Gone, hey, I just wanted to say, isn't it time we understood that they're actually great blacksmiths?
Yeah.
In our realm. They don't need any magic. Like she's trying to, you know, stick up for them.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it. I believe it could be possible
that she's from.
Well, that crystal ball's a motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah.
Where you see all the dimensions and shit.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you'd want to use it, wouldn't you? Come forward, stick up for dwarves at your comedy gig.
Yeah,
and so on. Then go back and go, yeah, I did my best.
Well, I just told her they are real because I saw one at Sizzler. Yeah, which is true. I saw it in his ponytail dipped in the pumpkin soup. So it was like
a dwarf's ponytail.
Yeah, I was a kid. I remember.
Well, she knows they're real. She's just saying, hey, they're good at sword making.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I would have.
It's still interesting that you saw a dwarf's ponytail dip in the pumpkin soup.
No, it's just more the imagery.
Yeah, that is interesting imagery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looked like a horse with diarrhea eating Caesar salad. You know what I mean? Because, like, just visually, I mean, it's.
What sentence is that? It looked like a horse with diarrhea eating Caesar salad.
It's the tip of the tail or whatever. When the horse.
I see what you mean. Because from the back, you just see a tail that's got.
But you're seeing Caesar salad, but it's at the level of a horse's tail.
Right.
So it's the imagery.
Right, yeah, you're seeing a tail and it's dipped in something that looks like shit.
But there's Caesar salad.
But there's.
So it's like
you're seeing the back of the head, you've got a ponytail that's dipped in a shit-like substance like pumpkin soup.
But the front,
but it's looking into a bowl of Caesar salad and eating it,
which is a good metaphor for capitalism.
Looks like a horse with diarrhea eating a Caesar salad. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Because Caesar salad.
I just thought I'd explain that for the listeners.
Yeah, I think it's an optical illusion, essentially.
Yeah.
You just got to look at the right angle.
But that's not a diss on dwarves because that's actually just ponytails.
No, it's a diss on ponytails. I mean,
Yeah, because if you dip your ponytail in pumpkin soup and
dwarves
turn
can
it
have
around,
bad taste too.
yeah,
Like he was
and
wearing a
that's not,
tuxedo at Sizzler. That's
yeah,
not a good choice.
yeah, he's overdressed for a place that's famous for serving rat poison.
I think he must have thought it was a fancy, because sometimes people thought Sizzler was fancy.
Yeah, I remember when I was growing up, I thought it was fancy. My
Yeah.
parents did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
For people listening from other countries, Sizzler's just a cheap buffet,
Yeah.
you know.
But it looks, when you're a kid, you're like,
In the 90s,
I felt underdressed.
Yeah.
In my hot tuna board shorts and Nike shirt.
Yeah. Because in the 90s, it was a really popular chain of buffets. The other thing is it's the same with like the other prejudice is, and I just noticed this, I saw a billboard for Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Same thing. Hunchbacks. Same as dwarves. And I mean, in the sense that there's prejudice there.
Yeah.
First of all, hunchback's a slur. I've got scoliosis. My mum has scoliosis, and that gives you her whole side of the family have got hunchbacks.
Yeah.
It's scoliosis. It's not hunchback.
It should be the scoliosis of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
The scoliotic back of.
Yeah. But it's like taking someone's disadvantage and not even referring to them by name. You're referring to them by their disability.
Yeah.
It's like saying, the cripple from Compton.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit confusing because you got Crips and Compton.
Yeah, that's probably, I know.
Yeah, but I just try to think of, because like the slur for mental disabilities, retard. It's like saying the retard from Redcliffe.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's a horrible thing to say.
But once again, it's fine because it's been happening for thousands of
years. Yeah,
because
that play's existed for so long.
So no one's going hunchback, fucking.
Yeah, why are people so obsessed with hunchbacks? I take a bit of offense to it because I've got a heritage of hunchbacks. I've got a hunchback. I have to work every week with a personal trainer to prevent my hunchback.
They don't have that in the movie, eh?
No.
The personal trainer's trying to stiffen his spinal column.
Yeah, he's trying to do like postural work.
So he can get back on the dating scene or whatever that movie's about.
It's just all about his hunchback. It's like he's a regular guy. Give him a break. There's things you can do.
Do osteopaths have to watch that movie in their training?
Yeah.
Just to because you're right. It's a medical. You can't just put a medical ailment and then a suburb,
right,
as your movie title.
Yeah.
That's not
exactly. Yeah.
It's not medical ailment from the suburb they're from.
Yeah. The herpes from Hurston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. The AIDS of Armadale.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then you're meant to meet this person with herpes and be like, this is the main character. And all you're thinking is herpes the whole time.
Yeah.
Or fucking, mental disability or club foot or whatever, the club foot from Carindale.
Use the actual term.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it.
Yeah. It's a slur, man.
Yeah.
Do you think hunchbacks are having a good time?
The deformed spinal column of Notre Dame or something.
Yeah. Anyway.
With the disc.
Yeah.
Fractured disc.
Right. the ruptured disc.
The ruptured disc of Notre Dame.
The ruptured disc of Ipswich.
Yeah, because it's and also like what that's going to be the name of the film. Can't it be like you find out that he's hunchback? Call it something else like the Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Guy.
Well, why not just call it Trevor from Paris?
Yeah.
So it's just like, Trevor's an interesting guy. Oh, he's got a hunchback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't make it the whole.
Yeah. Just call him his fucking name. The acne from Ascot.
Yeah.
You know?
I think because the Notre Dame's such a beautiful sounding thing, you're like, Notre Dame sounds magical.
Yeah.
I actually thought he was a magical character.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like the Dwarves thing.
Yeah.
In a way. Because it's kind of like going, there's weird mystique around hunchbacks. Oh, hunchbacks. I've got a hunchback from holding a lamp into secret passages. Like they're crawling around.
It's magic adjacent.
Yeah. But they've got no magical power. They've got no magical power. You're using them to sell tickets.
Yeah.
They just need to find a good PT.
It's a guy with bad posture a prolonged time.
Yeah.
And it's actually deformed his spinal column.
And now he can't pick up.
Yeah. So now he's reading the game.
Yeah. Now he's reading the pickup artist
Yeah.
guides and stuff.
Yeah, so he
So
can...
he's trying to neg princesses that come in.
Yeah.
Like, are you always this intense? Or whatever in front of her friends, you know?
But she's like, wow, you need to get a PT to look at that.
Yeah.
She used to go straight
Yeah,
ahead.
she's like, I know a really good chiro and so on. It's not as bad as you think. And he's like, fuck. You know what I mean? He's hoping.
He's like, where'd you get those shoes from? They suck. And she's like, yeah, but your back. I mean, I've just never seen something like that.
She's probably like, can I please crack your back? Like she's tempted,
Can
you
I
know,
help?
because you know, you're like crack, like she wants to crack it, you know, because he's trying to neg her and win her over, and he's like, whew, that haircut. No, I mean it's good.
Yeah,
I'm just saying your haircut's just a bit strange for these times. And she's just like, do you know that if you strengthen your core, it'll actually help lift your upper back, and you need to bring your collarbones closer to your chin to improve your posture. There's exercises I can give you. Go to Amart, All Sports or whatever, and buy these resistant bands.
Drink calcium fortified milk. It can help.
Yeah.
The bone integrity.
Yeah.
He's like, something.
Damn it. Yes. And then he has to go back to.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way that hunchbacks brought it on themselves in those films, because they're all like, walking around. You know, like they're always in a trench coat and they've got a candle and they're creeping around. They know the secrets of the castle. And it's like, first of all, get out of the castle.
People
do you know what I
you're
mean?
Magical because you live in a castle now.
Why don't you take a bit of initiative and get a real job?
Yeah. Doing that's not a job.
That's not a job, is it?
A lantern.
Well, it's that I mean, you know, we talk about taxi drivers being obsolete from Uber. Yeah. I mean, these hunchbacks, it's not really a skill walking around and thing going, I know where the dusty book is.
How do you monetize that?
Yeah.
You know?
Soon a robot will do that.
Yeah, a robot will be like, it's over here. It's over here with the lantern just shining.
Yeah, that'll just be a robot.
The only thing I can think the Hunchback was good for is that they had the lantern, which is good for your circadian rhythms.
Right.
Because it's like a little candle, so it wouldn't like at least they weren't beaming fluorescent lights into people's retinas.
Right.
They were respecting.
You think that the Hunchback slept well because he used candles.
Yeah.
And it was good for his melatonin.
Every time I watch a medieval movie, I'm just like, yeah, they slept well. That's how an insomniac watches films.
Yeah, I know.
They're like, I wonder if he has REM, even though he works at Jurassic Park or whatever.
Yeah.
Clever girl. Yeah, like, can you sleep with T-Rexes following you?
Yeah, I'm sure that having dinosaurs around isn't good for anxiety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the sleep, you know.
Unless it works as a kind of insignificance therapy.
Right, like your problem about what Diane said at the meeting isn't as big as the fact there's a T-Rex nearby.
Yeah, it minimizes. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think maybe that's why people in prehistoric times slept well. They weren't thinking about, you know, what happened at the lunch meeting. They're worried, like, will I live tonight? There's a giant lizard.
Yeah. There's a lizard with wings.
You
know?
It's a lizard with wings. Well, that's what I guess a lot of dinosaurs
were. There's a precursor to a bird coming around here.
Yeah.
You know?
So on, yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for listening to Neurotic News. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again when Rathi gets back from Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Later in August, after August.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Good. Bye. Thank you.